I'd like to call this meeting of your Newark City Council to order. January 19th, 2016. Autumn, please call the roll.
Mr. Blake?
Here.
Mr. Bub?
Here.
Mr. Cos?
Here.
Mrs. Floyd? Here. Mr. Frazier?
Here.
Miss Hall?
Here.
Mr. Johnson?
Here.
Mr. Marmee?
Here.
Mr. Rath?
Here.
And Mr. Roletta?
Here. We have all present and accounted for. Next on the agenda, we have the invocation by Mr. Johnson. Please stand.
Let us be in prayer. Lord, as we have observed Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday, help us to be aware of his message to bring us together as one nation. We thank you for the opportunity to be a nation of freedom based on your teachings. Be with us in our deliberations as we consider legislation. And again, be with those who are in need, those who experience joy, and those who need guidance. Bless us all, and may we ever serve you, we pray in your name. Amen.
Amen. William, you want to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, William. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Next on the agenda this evening, we have caucus. That's the time for council to discuss anything that may concern them about the agenda this evening. Do we have it? Moving on. Next, we have the minutes of our January 4th, 2016 meeting. Do we have a motion to approve those? Motion by Mr. Rath, second by Mr. Johnson. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That passes. We have 3 reports this evening from standing committees, one from Finance, one from Service, and one from Economic Development. Without objection, those will be received as well. This evening we have reports from city officials. First report we have this evening is from Mayor Hall. He's going to do the State of the City address. Stay tuned. Here we go. Mayor Hall.
No PowerPoint?
Hello, members. No PowerPoint, sorry. No pictures. Just this. Yeah. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Newark City Hall Council Chambers for the 2016 State of the City Address. Last year was a busy and productive year for the City of Newark. We expect this to continue for the next several years with projects and improvements that are both in process and, of course, yet to come. I'd like to thank Newark City Council, along with the auditor, our treasurer, the law director, the municipal court judges, the clerk of courts, and the directors for all their hard work over the previous year. With their support, the support of talented department heads and dedicated, hardworking employees, we are moving Newark forward. Many things cannot be accomplished without the wonderful support of our citizens and the community-minded individuals, businesses, and organizations that are providing help through various public-private partnerships. Thank you to all. We continue to achieve gains by operating in a teamwork environment with focus on strong communication, financial planning, and due diligence through research and open dialogue. We continue to focus in 5 areas to make Newark an even better place to live, work, and raise our children. These 5 areas are safety, neighborhood improvement, economic development, local school support, and efficient and effective government operations. Safety. The Newark Division of Police had many successes during 2015. Chief Barry Connell was sworn in on June 1st as our new Chief of Police. His many years of service to Newark, his broad spectrum of knowledge, and his active engagement in our community are all assets that are a strong benefit to our city. The Newark Police Patrol Bureau and Detective Bureau worked diligently in 2015, solving critical cases in the community through strong teamwork and active collaboration with our surrounding neighbors and law enforcement. They are to be commended for their efforts and, of course, their results. This past year allowed us to further our relationship with the commissioners and Licking County government by partnering with the Licking County 911 Emergency Dispatch Center. We have successfully transitioned to a new model of police dispatching which ensures citizens will promptly receive help in their times of need. In addition, our officers now have the latest technology available to assist those life-saving efforts. This new collaboration, which has been in place with the Division of Fire and EMS for over 10 years, will work in tandem with a new records management system to better support our officers. Thank you to the NPD Administrative Bureau for their research and due diligence in these new enhancements. The Newark Division of Fire and EMS continues to provide outstanding customer care and life-saving services in our community. Chief Pat Connor was sworn in on February 2nd, 2015. As he enters his second year of command, with strong dedication and continued active involvement in EMS fire science, the division is well positioned to provide outstanding service for years to come. Our newest facility, the recently commissioned downtown fire station, NFD Station 1, was constructed on time and under budget while prioritizing the use of local vendors. A key feature, the training tower, ensures our firefighters have a modernized facility to practice their life-saving skills. This facility also houses our newest transport unit, Medic 1. I was pleased and honored in 2015 to appoint 2 new chiefs in our safety division. The City of Newark is positioned well as we move the Newark Division of Police and the Newark Division of Fire EMS into the future. Neighborhood improvement. The Property Maintenance Division continues to pursue its mission of protecting property values and enhancing neighborhoods through effective inspection and enforcement activities. In 2015, the department welcomed a new inspector analyst. This mission-critical member ensures public complaints will be processed in a timely manner while operating under the utmost transparency. Through the use of technology, the public can receive easy-to-read reports, which help us measure our activities. Cross-department collaboration between development, property maintenance, police, and fire gives additional substance to our code and helps hold violators accountable. Our Department of Development has established a strong relation with Habitat for Humanity and the private sector, working hand in hand to build homes to improve our neighborhoods and offer affordable housing to new owners that would not otherwise qualify. This program requires sweat equity from its new owners during the construction phase and a high level of funding and volunteerism from the local sector. This joint venture led to the dedication of 4 new Habitat homes in Newark during 2015 with the financial assistance from our Home RLF Fund. Thank you to all that have been involved in these projects, including community-minded volunteers from Park National Bank, Owens Corning, and the Licking County Foundation. Our city park system continues to improve. 2015 brought continued renovations to Everett Park through the use of grant funds and volunteerism. A new disc golf course was opened, an overgrown park area cleared for future improvements. Renovations also continued at Hollander Pool with improved playground areas and parking facilities through the use of grant funds secured from the Ohio Department of Natural Resources. Economic development. Economic development continues in Newark with the guidance of the Newark City Department of Development, along with our local Community Improvement Corporation, Newark Development Partners. New businesses have located in our downtown district, along with second and third floor loft apartments as a result of the downtown utility improvement and renovation project. Tagged Re-Newark, the project is transitioning our downtown into an improved destination and commercial district with the recognition by many groups across the state. This is all being done with the creative use of utility line improvement funds. Businessman Tom Atha is actively working on the renovation of his Church Street property. Liz Argyle has purchased an additional property on South 3rd Street for renovation, and the Grand Canal Market District and Pavilion will stage its opening in May of this year. Thank you to the Evans Foundation for its strong focus on our community. Other economic developments include the opening of the Old Bag of Nails Pub and Restaurant and the construction of a new 123,000 square foot Kroger store, both on North 21st Street. Also, the Barrel and Boar Restaurant will soon open its newest location on 3rd Street in downtown Newark after several months of renovation. Don Edwards Park and the Lou Gibb Reese Ice Arena continue to draw people out of town while serving our local athletes with top-notch facilities. With strong support from the Newark Development Partners and local private donors, White Field has started its transition into a beautiful upgraded sports facility, not only for football, but also for soccer and band competition, among many other things, with the addition of synthetic turf. It was a proud evening for the athletes and spectators as the new field surface was dedicated before the first Newark High football game on September 4th. Local school support. We continue to grow our relationship with our local schools to the benefit of our students for the future of our community. A Safe Routes to School grant We received and we implemented this year with the addition of a new walk bridge over the water ditch for students who attend Liberty Middle and Legend Elementary schools, along with improved sidewalks and pedestrian crossings near Wilson Middle School and Newark Catholic High School. 2015 was the second year for the Newark Youth Council, guided with input from Councilman Jeremy Blake and myself, along with several teachers. Youth Council meets monthly with high school age students from a variety of schools across the city. The interaction between the students is outstanding, with this year's class learning with tours of various Newark City government facilities. I appreciate the students' involvement in government through the Newark Youth Council. Efficient and effective government operations. We start this year once again with a balanced budget for operations within the city for 2016. While the general fund continues to be challenged, a strong teamwork attitude from all the departments, along with continued fiscal training, provided the proper balance of projected expenses to projected revenues. This efficiency we owe to the tax-paying citizens of Newark. We continue to use less paper and associated paper products through the increased use of technology, resulting in sizable long-term cost savings. This same technology also provides efficiencies in workforce implementation. Our employees need the proper technology tools to operate in an efficient and effective manner. We continue to expand our collaboration with the Licking County government in 2015 with the establishment of a countywide land bank. This arrangement, now used in nearly 25 counties across Ohio, will provide a tool to help remove blight and place properties back on the tax roll. We are excited to be a part of the process and look forward to its anticipated results. Newark City continues to apply for pertinent grants that are in line with our overall goals. During 2015, we were awarded numerous grants that included our annual CDBG grant, a SAFER grant used to hire 3 full-time firefighters, a CHIP grant, and a JAG grant used to purchase police department mobile data terminals to increase efficiency. As you can see, it's been another busy year. In conclusion, thank you for your wonderful support of our city. Newark is poised to have a great year in 2016 through additional growth and improvement. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. You got the Democratic response. Next on communications, we have or reports from city officials. We have one from the city auditor, Stephen Johnson, and we have one from Barb Jones, our city tax administrator. Without objection, those will be received and filed. And under communications, we have one this evening from the Ohio Department of Liquor Control, transfer application going from Roots and Shoots LLC to Patasco Flowers LTD, located at 57 Price Road. Next on the agenda, we have comments from citizens. There are 2 places from comments from citizens. One is now before the legislation and one is after. Do we have anyone who would like to speak this evening? Come on up, William. Again, this is not a debate with council. This is just your opportunity to be heard. Mr. Butcher.
I'm Win
Your name and
Butcher.
address for the record.
Win Butcher, 263 Union Street. There's one thing I like to see happen during the spring and summer months. I like to see during the spring months, I like to see the Flint Festival, Flint Rock Festival. That there tells about the historic value about the city of Newark. That is a history, tells about the city of Newark, has a history about it. Tells about the history of the city of Newark. And I'd see that brought back during the spring, during summer months. I do remember we had that a long time ago, Jeremy. I do know that. And now I'd see it bring back, and I'd see the Hot Wings Music Festival be brought back here in downtown Newark. That'd be something to look forward to. I'd see more concerts for say Newark. And my top 10 forecast, we got some snow coming by after midnight. I can rule out the possibility accumulation, but outside the city limits, I say 1 to 2 inches. But here in the city, I can't say or seem to think it might get a little dusting, but some streets. Some highways might be slick during morning commute. Now we'll get your top 10 weather forecast.
Thank you, William. Anyone else for this first section of citizens' comments? Okay, we'll move on to the legislation. Ordinances on the first reading, 16-01.
Ordinance 16-01 by Mr. Rath and Mr. Marmee, an ordinance changing the zoning classification of certain real property generally described as 173 and 175 Elmwood Avenue, City of Newark, Licking County, Ohio, from that of single-family residence, RH High Density District, to MFR Multifamily Residence District.
1601 will be referred to Planning Commission for consideration and then back to council after that. Next, we have resolutions on the first reading. 216-01. Oh, this resolution, 16-01, sorry.
Resolution 16-01 by Mr. Rath, Mr. Cost, Mr. Marmee, a resolution appropriating the real estate known as parcel number 054-233-580-00.000, Newark, Licking County, located at 737 West Church Street, Newark, Licking County, Ohio, authorizing the Director of Law to proceed with a complaint for appropriation in the Licking County Court of Common Pleas and declaring an emergency.
16-01 is an emergency, so we only have one reading. What is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr. Rath?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt 16-01.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Rath, second by Mr. Johnson. Is there any discussion on 16-01?
Mr. President.
Mr. Rath?
This has to do with taking a small parcel of property along with 1602. I'll speak to both of them at the same time. At the intersection of 30th and Church Street for intersection improvements.
Any other discussion?
21st Street. That's exactly what I meant.
We thought that's what you meant. Is there any other discussion?
21st and Church, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Seeing none, Autumn, please call the roll to vote.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Bub?
Yes.
Mr. Cost?
Yes.
Mrs. Floyd?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Ms. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Marmee?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
And Mr. Roletta?
Yes. 16-01 passes 10-0. Next, we have 16-02.
Resolution 16-02 by Mr. Rath, Mr. Cost, Mr. Marmee, a resolution appropriating the real estate known as parcel number 054-245358-00.000, Newark, Licking County, located at 225 North 21st Street, Newark, Licking County, Ohio, authorizing the Director of Law to proceed with a complaint for appropriation in Licking County Court of Common Pleas and declaring an emergency.
16-02 is also an emergency, so we only have one reading. What is your wish, Mr. Rath?
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to adopt 16-02.
Motion by Mr. Rath, second by Mr. Johnson. Is there any discussion on 16-02?
Mr. President,
Let's see if we can get the right street, Mr.
for
Rath.
the record, this is for the improvement to the intersection of Church Street and 21st Street.
Thank you, Mr. Rath. Is there any other discussion on 16-02? Seeing none, Autumn, please call the roll vote.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Bub?
Yes.
Mr. Cost?
Yes.
Mrs. Floyd?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Ms. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Marmee?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
And Mr. Roletta?
Yes, 1602 passes 10-0. I'm sure the folks at Church and 30th are happy that it's 21st Street. Next, we have 16-03.
Resolution 16-03 by Mr. Rath, Mr. Cost, and Mr. Marmee. This is a final resolution for the conversion of the interchange over State Route 16.
1603 will be
Mr. President,
Mr. Rath.
I'd like to make a motion to waive the two-day reading rule.
Motion by Mr. Rath to waive the two-day reading rule.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bub. Mr. Rath.
Mr. President, we need to waive the two-day reading rule in order to,
I think it has the emergency
Yeah, it
clause
has the
at end.
emergency on the back side.
She's right.
Under
Mr.
part
President, I'd like to
That's fine.
revoke my
Would you like to
motion.
reverse on that, Mr. Rath, and I'll help you?
Yes.
1603 does have an emergency clause. Mr. Rath.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt 16-03.
Motion by Mr. Rath, second by Mr. Bub to adopt 16-03. Do we have any discussion?
Yes, sir, we need to pass this to meet ODOT time limits.
Mr. Rath, anything else on 16-03? Autumn, please call the roll to vote.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Bub?
Yes.
Mr. Cost?
Yes.
Mrs. Floyd?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Ms. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Marmee?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
Mr. Roletta?
Yes. 16-03 passes 10-0. Next, we have 16-04.
Resolution 16-04 by Mr. Cost, Mr. Rath, a resolution in support of the application for an Ohio Historic Preservation Tax Credit Award filed by the RWWL LLC, for the rehabilitation of certain properties on the Courthouse Square in downtown Newark, Ohio.
Mr. Blake?
I move to waive the two-day reading rule.
Motion by Mr. Blake to waive the two-day reading rule.
Second.
By Mrs. Floyd. Mr. Blake?
Mr. President, you informed me earlier that there's a deadline related to this legislation, so that's the reason.
Good call, Mr. Blake. Any other Autumn, please call the roll to waive the two-day reading rule.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Bub?
Yes.
Mr. Cost?
Yes.
Mrs. Floyd?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Ms. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Marmee?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
And Mr. Roletta?
Yes. Two-day reading rule has been waived. Mr. Blake?
Move to adopt 1604.
Motion by Mr. Blake. Second by Mr. Johnson. Is there any discussion on 16-04? Seeing none, Autumn, please call the roll and vote.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Bub?
Yes.
Mr. Cost?
Yes.
Mrs. Floyd?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Ms. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Marmee?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
Mr. Roletta?
Yes. 16-04 passes 10-0. Next, we have 16-05.
Resolution 16-05 by Mr. Marmee, Mr. Cost, Mr. Rath, a resolution appropriating and disappropriating monies for the current expenses of the municipal corporation.
Mr. President,
Mr. Marmon?
I'd like to make a motion to waive the two-day reading rule on Resolution 16-05.
Motion by Mr. Marmee to waive the two-day reading rule.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bub. Mr. Marmee?
Yes, these are all things that needed to be changed because of the end of the year and some things that were missed on the budget. So in order to have these items in our budget, they had to be expedited so then we can utilize them.
Thank you, Mr. Marmon. Autumn, please call the roll to waive the two-day reading rule.
Mr. Bub? Oh, excuse me, Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Bub?
Yes.
Mr. Cost?
Yes.
Mrs. Floyd?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Ms. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Marmee?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
And Mr. Roletta?
Yes. Two-day reading rule has been waived. Mr. Marmon?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 16-05.
Second.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Marmee, second by Mr. Cost. Is there any other discussion on 16-05? Autumn, please call the roll vote.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Bub?
Yes.
Mr. Cost?
Yes.
Mrs. Floyd?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Ms. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Marmee?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
And Mr. Roletta?
Yes. 16-05 passes 10-0. Next, on the first reading, we have 16-06.
Resolution 16-06 by Mr. Marmee, Mr. Cost, Mr. Rath, a resolution appropriating monies for the current expenses of the municipal corporation.
16-06 will be held for a second reading for 2 weeks. And finally, this evening, we have 16-07.
Resolution number 16-07 by Mr. Marmee, Mr. Cost, and Mr. Rath, a resolution authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Newark to enter into a housing revolvement loan fund administration agreement with the Ohio Development Services Agency.
16-07.
Mr. President.
Mr. Marmee?
I'd like to make a motion to waive the two-day reading rule on Resolution 16-07.
Motion by Mr. Marmee to waive the two-day reading rule, second by Mr. Johnson. Mr. Marmee?
Yes, this has to be expedited because there is a deadline to meet the application date.
Thank you, Mr. Marmee. Autumn, please call the roll to waive the two-day reading rule.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Bub?
Yes.
Mr. Cost?
Yes.
Mrs. Floyd?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Ms. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Marmee?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
And Mr. Roletta?
Yes. 15-07 passes. That was two-day reading.
Yes.
Mr. President,
Mr. Marmee?
make a motion to adopt Resolution 16-07.
Thank you, Mr. Marmee. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Johnson. Is there any other discussion on 16-07? Seeing none, Autumn, please call the roll to vote.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Bub?
Yes.
Mr. Cost?
Yes.
Mrs. Floyd?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Ms. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Marmee?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
And Mr. Roletta?
Yes. 16-07 passes 10-0. And that concludes the legislation this evening. Thank you for bearing with me. Next is our second opportunity for comments from citizens. And once again, it's not a debate with council, it's just your opportunity to be heard. Do we have anyone? Mr. Butcher.
It's with Butcher 263, almost, you go, we'll dress mixed up. Wayne from Butcher 263 Union Street. I'd like to know when my street could, I'd like to see my street paved during the spring, and I'd like to see it paved some spring and summer, because it's in bad shape. And a lot of people been come to me, ask me when Union Street's going to get paved. And I says, I don't know when it's going to get paved, but I told them the city is working on it. I told them to be patient. And I'd like to know what the city's going to do about these back alleys. Has potholes in it. See, most of these alleys are paved, torn up and paved, redone. Because the alley back in where I live at, it has a lot of holes in it. I don't know when it's going to get paved. But I pass.
Thank you, William. Anyone else this evening? Anyone from the administration? Assistant Law Director Clippinger.
I will pass, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Hall.
Thank you. Yeah, just this past Sunday, the city of Danville lost a law enforcement officer, and that kind of hits home no matter where it happens in the United States, but obviously this is in our neighboring county. It kind of sends chills through you a little bit when you think about how this occurred and what happened. So surely utmost respect for all the law enforcement officers that do that line of duty, as well as our firefighters that run on situations that are uncertain at times. He had roots in Lincoln County, as probably most people know, with a 2000 graduate at Newark High School. So I surely just want to extend our sincere condolences to his family and to the Danville Police Department, and then of course the citizens. With Danville being a town of about 1,000, that's a large impact on that community. So with that, sincere condolences from the city of Newark. That I pass.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Blake.
Used to going first.
Well, you'll be next month. Next month you'll be last.
Next month I'll be last. Okay. Mr. President, first I want to say thank you to Director Spurgeon. My constituent reached out to me and was concerned about an issue near his business, and so thank you for you and the people in your office for reaching out back to him to make communications open. So thank you for that. I do want to thank the mayor for his comments with the Newark Youth Council in the state of the city. I think that's been a great program since we've been working together as a collaboration. This Thursday, actually, the Youth Council is going to learn about the judicial branch of our government. We're going to go up and visit Judge Stansberry and learn about the municipal court. So looking forward to that visit. And so I think that's been a great success. And so it's had a rough start the first year, but it's continuing to get better each year as we do it. So I look forward to continued years with that. I do want to say, with this, with Martin Luther King Day yesterday and several other community events happening throughout this week, and Denison's celebrating the work of Dr. King next Monday. But I had a good opportunity over the holiday break to visit another non-violent leader. I went to Mahatma Gandhi's memorial service when I was in India. And it just reminds us that these two great leaders were change makers, not only in their own nations, but in the world. And I think they're examples of leadership, and they're examples of doing away with the politics of hatred and division and negativity. That diversity is a good thing, no matter what religion, race, sexual orientation, whatever the difference is. Diversity is positive, not negative. And there's much going on in our popular media and popular newses about different religions, specifically the Muslim religion, and there is differences, and we should embrace difference and not try to divide people or place people in certain categories. But Dr. King and Gandhi must definitely have similarities within each of their respective works that they've done, and we should learn from their work. I do want to say that also I just look forward to a great year, but I think we also need to remember those that are unfortunate and marginalized in our community with the cold weather, with the things that are happening. There are people out there that are not getting food to eat. There are people out there that are homeless. And so just want to recognize that there are people in poverty, and we need to work with our nonprofit agencies to make sure that the services are provided to the correct people. So with that, I'll pass.
Thank you, Mr. Blake. Mr. Buck?
I will pass, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Buck. Mr. Cost?
I will pass. Thank you.
Mr. Cost? Mrs. Floyd?
I will pass.
Mr. Frazier?
Mr. President,
You're not going to pass, are you?
I'm not going to pass. I had a great opportunity this week helping with the HHCA chicken noodle dinner. Raised over $2,000. The money's still being counted as far as what all's coming in from the chicken noodles in the auction. And it was a great turnout, a great event, and we really look forward to seeing what that will impact in the residential neighborhood of historical Hudson. And so that, coupled with the development project that's going on in Mount Vernon and Hudson, as well as the downtown project, and linking those two areas together, the opportunity is certainly vast for the improvement of that entire area. And so with that, I also echo the 5 areas that the mayor pointed out of safety, neighborhood improvements, economic development, local schools, and efficient, effective government. All ambitious goals and all dead on for what the city of Newark needs to be doing. And so I thank the administration. I'll also call a public safety committee meeting, and with that, I'll pass.
Thank you, Mr. Frazier. Ms. Hall?
I'll pass, thank you.
Ms. Hall. Mr. Johnson?
I had the opportunity on Saturday to go over to the Dr. Martin Luther King Center in Columbus and listen to the speeches of 26 kids from grades 1st to 6 dealing with the subject, would Dr. King say this is community or chaos? And I will tell you that those 26 kids from 1st grade to 6th grade did a wonderful job about talking about bringing community together, and it was really outstanding and gives me great hope and faith in the future of our world, because there are kids who do understand, and they wrote their own speeches and they all did it. They all had, the kids from 1st grade to 3rd grade had 2 minutes, and the kids from 4th grade on had 3 minutes, and they did an excellent job. And the first little boy lost his speech and he cried, but they let him come back, and he gave one of the best speeches we had all day long. And I will say, he probably will be president of the United States. His name was Isaac. But it was wonderful, and I would hope maybe sometime we could consider something like that in our community, because it was really well done and involved the kids, and I really, truly enjoyed it. And again, I thank you, Mayor, for your comments tonight, and I'm pleased to be here. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Morrow?
Thank you. I hope you got a selfie with him,
Yeah.
with Isaac. Need to call a finance committee meeting. I also just want to comment that as far as the state of the city, I like the 5 areas in which we are concentrating on. I agree with William and what he had said, the paving of the streets, although I don't know if I agree with the paving of the alleys. I think our priorities are the streets. We can make improvements and betterments possibly with the alleyways, but definitely need to try to increase our paving of our streets to make our neighborhoods better, and also to just help as far as economic development. I think that good roads and infrastructure is definitely something that will help that out. In addition, I hope that we work to make sure that we make it less expensive for citizens to live, work, and raise a family in Newark. That is what I see on a daily basis, is that folks are just crying out that it's getting more and more expensive to just for the little things, and then things keep increasing. We know that the price of everything continues to increase, although inflation pretty much has been stagnant somewhat. But then when taxes go up or anything along those lines, then it just causes a huge burden, and then they spend less money on things as far as in the community, and also sometimes if it makes it more expensive to live in a community, then they choose not to. Or if they're comparing that we're getting closer to another community, then they'll choose to live elsewhere. So I want to make sure that we maintain that lower level of, cost for our citizens. I also want to kind of mention, and it was in the paper this evening, one of our very own in this community, Coach John Canizero, is being recognized. The Advocate said Thursday, but actually it's Friday. I will have the honor of attending Coach Canizero being inducted in the Ohio High School Baseball Hall of Fame. He has numerous records that no one else even comes close to, with just his personal as a coach, 6 state championships, and numerous victories at the regional level and district level that aren't even touched by any other school. So I want to congratulate Coach Canizero and his accomplishments, and not only with the victories, but what he's done as far as helping these kids get to the next level. And some of them may not have even have attended college if it wasn't for the fact that somebody looked at them and helped them out with some funding because of their abilities with athletics. And he continues to always support education when it comes to the kids. His first priority is always, you keep your grades up, and you'll be fine. You'll be able to play out here, but if your grades aren't up, then you need to go there and set a practice and work on your grades. So I always commend him on that aspect of it. And he really has done a great job of just raising men and making sure that they are good citizens for not only our community, but some of them have lived elsewhere. But a good representation of our community when they are elsewhere. And so I hope that if you ever run into him or anything, congratulate him on that feat that's going to be recognized on Friday. And with that, I pass.
Thank you, Mr. Marmon. Mr. Rath.
Thank you. I want to call a service committee meeting. Mr. Mayor, appreciate the state of the state, or state of the city, state of the union, whatever. Not yet. Appreciate the state of the city and your excitement and your leadership, and I am also excited about where Newark is going. I had the opportunity to attend the Downtown Newark Association meeting, after hours meeting tonight, along with Mr. Cost and Ms. Floyd and Mr. Blake. And they are very excited about the things that are going on in Newark and about the downtown area. And they have some new developments coming out that I think are going to do well in promoting the city, the downtown area. They have the new Final Friday schedule out. And I saw some things on there that are coming back from last year that I really liked. And I'm excited about that as well. So things are going great. That'll pass.
Thank you, Mr. Rath. Mr. Love.
Thanks, Mr. President, I'll pass.
Thank you, Mr. Love. Just a couple things. I see Law Director Sasson's not here tonight. Is he still in mourning over the clinical law? Would you like to make any comment for the record?
I think he's hiding.
You think that's it? Well, that's probably a good idea.
I was shopping for a new tie.
Shopping for something. Maybe red and gray. Our next committee meeting is the 25th of January here at 5:30 in this room. Next council meeting is the 1st of February at 7 o'clock, also in this room. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Rath, second by Mr. Koff. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Adjourn.